Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So just a quick update for you guys. The Washington Commanders have opened the 21-day window for Phidarian. Mathis. Also, an update on the Montez Sweat trade rumors. A team has sent the Commanders a trade offer, so we'll talk about that and some more things. If you guys are new, please subscribe, hit that like button. Also, check out Sleeper, link in the description. All right, so real quick, let's start with the Phidarian Mathis news and then get to what people really want to talk about with the Montez Sweat news. So, the Commanders announced they've opened the 21-day window for D-tackle Phidarian Mathis. The team announced that. Here's John Keim's tweet. Shout out John Keim. But, you know, it's been a while ever since he got injured the first preseason game. They didn't give a lot of information on the injury. It was a calf injury. And he hasn't played a game. So if he's going to play a game, he's going to have to get activated off IR or put onto the active roster in the next 21 days. That's what this means. So it doesn't mean he's coming back this week. It probably means he will be practicing. He'll probably be practicing a little bit and has a chance to play this week. My guess is he practices a little bit this week, maybe does some like side work stuff, and then next week he'll play. With this injury and how he's been dealing with other injuries as well over the past couple years, I just don't see him playing this week. Who knows? Maybe they do have him play. And then if they activate him, it'll be interesting to see what they do, who they cut, because they have a lot of, linemen on the roster right now. Maybe they move one of the guys, maybe it's Montez Sweat or Chase Young, but maybe it's a guy like Casey Tuhill or James Smith-Williams who have been valuable backups. Like maybe a team would trade a 7th round pick for Casey Tuhill, or maybe a team would even do like a pick swap. It wouldn't be huge, but it would be something. Maybe a team would do that. And then that frees up space, and you can bring up Phidarian Mathis, because they're not going to cut F.A. Obata, John Ridgeway, any of those guys, Casey Tuhill or James Smith-Williams or KJ Henry, Andre Jones, honestly. But if he comes back, hopefully he'll be an asset in the run game. I'm not really expecting much from him. He hasn't done anything his first 2 years, and that has been because of an injury. But we really could have used some O-line help that year, or even another position. It is what it is, but at least we'll get to see what he can do. Hopefully he can do something for us and, again, help out in the run game. He's not much of a pass rusher, but he'll keep Allen and Payne a little bit more fresh. Those guys, I heard Keim talk about in his podcast, like, those guys were disappointing against New York. Like, they're going up against practice squad guys. They were not dominating. They were not dominating at all. Chase Young was, but, Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen weren't. You can talk all you want about how, Chase Young gets sacks against these backups. Well, that's fine. He got a sack against Justin Pugh, who was on the couch last week or 2 weeks ago and did fine against the Bills, but at least he got sacks and got pressures. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen were going up against practice squad guys that weren't even on the couch, or they were on the couch a couple weeks ago, and they weren't getting pressure. So I want to see more from those guys. I know Jonathan Allen is dealing with that injury that's been lingering for a while, but I need to see a little bit more from him. Okay, now on to the trade stuff. Nikki says one team has made a trade offer to the Commanders for DN Montez Sweat, but none so far have offered for Chase Young per source. Unclear of the terms of the offer for Sweat. So very interesting that teams across the league seem lower on Chase than they do Sweat. And I kind of understand that, because Montez has not dealt with any injuries over his first 5 years in DC. He's been very consistent, around 8 sacks every season, and this year he's on pace for a lot, like over double digits, double digits plus, like 13, 14 sacks he's on pace for, maybe even more, maybe like, I don't know exactly what his number is, but he's definitely, I think he's at like 6 sacks right now. He's at 5.5, so he's on pace for like 14 sacks. He's had a good year, and yeah, that, the trade value for him should be high, but also Chase Young has had I think, even better year. He has 5 sacks in 6 games, so one less than Montez Sweat. He has more pressures, and he's been playing better. He's gotten double teamed. In my opinion, he's been playing better. I know some people don't share that same opinion. So, we'll see, but it's interesting that, like, apparently, according to Sam Forte, the trade value for Chase is like a 4th or 5th round pick, a 3rd round pick at best, and for Montez, it's a 2nd. I think it should be more than a 2nd for Montez. I'm going to get into some proof on that in a little bit. But Chase Young for a 5th, who would do that? If you do that, even for a 3rd, you should be fired. And I hope this front office, unless they get blown away by an offer, don't trade either of them, because I do not trust this front office. So if it's like a 1st round pick for Montez, okay, I'm fine with you, doing that. We need some more, future picks, and I would love to give whoever our next GM is some more picks to use next year if they want to trade up for a QB. A 2nd and like a 3rd, I'll consider it, but let's look at this real quick. I just tweeted this out a little bit. It's getting some traction. Bradley Chubb got traded for a 1st round pick and was averaging 5 sacks a year. Montez Sweat has been much better than Chubb was in Denver, and I said trade value should be a 1st. It should be a 1st at least. And someone asked if he was under contract, and I believe he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't under contract. So that was a fair question by Dustin. He was like, okay, maybe that's why the value is more for him. But no, he wasn't under contract. So very similar circumstances. You look at Bradley Chubb's stats. Okay, let me just X out of that. You look at his stats. His rookie year, he had a great year. Better year than any year Montez Sweat has had. But this year, Montez Sweat is on pace for a better year. He had 12 sacks. Then in 2019, only 1 sack in 4 games. 2020, he had 7.5 sacks. Like, that's decent. Nothing special, though. Like, nothing special. 1 forced fumble. 2021, he played in 7 games, 0 sacks. And then in 2022, a total of 8 sacks, and that's the year he got traded. Doesn't seem better than Montez Sweat to me. And I looked at the pressures, too, and the pressures were not very high. Like, he ranked in, like, the 20, like 15 to like 25 range most of the years, or even lower than that. It's not like he's getting a ton of pressure. So his stats are worse than Montez's, and he gets injured. Like, he missed a lot of 2019, missed a lot of 2021. Like, not only is Montez his stats are better, he also doesn't get hurt, and he's very talented as well. Like, if it wasn't for that heart condition, he was going to be a top 10 pick. And even the years that he has been healthy, like 2020, 7.5 sacks in 14 games. That's around what Montez does every year. But he also doesn't get injured all the time. So for me, it doesn't make sense why Montez's trade value is like a 2nd. I think it should be higher, honestly. So if we can get a 1st for him, I would do it, because at this point, we haven't won with this D-line, this, quote-unquote dominant D-line. So if you can get a 1st for a guy that's in a contract year, go ahead and do it, and maybe you can use that if you want to trade up for a quarterback if Howell doesn't work out, or if you want to trade up for offensive lineman next year, the Penn State guy, you can do that. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility, but I really thought it was useful to put out this statistic because, again, Bradley Chubb, he got traded for a 1st and was averaging around 5 sacks a year. Montez is we can go ahead and look at his stats, but he's been very consistent. 35 career sacks. You look at it, 2019, 7 sacks, 2020, 9 sacks, and the only year that he didn't have that many sacks was 2021, and that was because he had 5 sacks. He had the virus, and his brother passed away. He might have had another a minor injury, but he missed some games because of the virus and some other stuff. So, but he was still averaging half a sack a game. So on pace for 8.5 sacks. And then last year had 8 sacks, and then this year again on pace for 14? I think that's 7. So he's played in 7 games, 5.5 sacks. So that's on pace for 11 in 14 games. So yeah, around 14-ish, and he has a couple forced fumbles as well. Come on, man. Like, he definitely has had a better career than Bradley Chubb has had so far. So I think he should be valued at a 1st round. It was a 1st round pick, and I think Chase Edmonds. So they got the value of basically a 1st and a 5th or something, a 6th. It was good value. And Montez, if we're going off that logic, he should be worth a 1st and a 3rd. Because it's the same situation. Montez is young, talented, and has produced more than Bradley Chubb and has been healthier. So that's kind of my opinion on the whole situation. thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys check out Sleeper. Use my code Pedro. You get a first-time deposit match of up to $100. You can put in $10 and you'll get $20 out, and it really does help me out a ton. So go ahead and check it out. And if you do end up depositing, let me know. And they got some good deals as well, like tomorrow, Josh Allen over half a passing yard. So thanks for watching, and peace, guys.